Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and in this one we have Rengar because despite the fact he's not, a meta jungler or something that's giga borderline OP that everyone's spamming like, AD Udyr and all the idiots who promote that, Rengar is actually doing very, very well. Now, my original Rengar, Season 4, most of my friends will remember, or if you're old enough and not a fetus, is that we used to go Spirit of the Elder Lizard, Ravenous Hydra, Last Whisper, throw in a GA and maybe a Black Cleaver, and everybody died. And our ferocity didn't decay, so that was beautiful. However, we got the recently reworked Rengar earlier in the year. I'm speaking a lot with my hands today, but I typically do anyway. And you know what? The Ravenous Hydra is just like a time capsule thing, and I did some gaming with it yesterday myself. I was like, ooh, this feels so good. And it scales nicely. We don't need a Mejai's, we just need that. The Omnivamp removal won't change it for us because, yes, that's nice over a sustained fight, but we want Electrocute. We want First Strike. Again, First Strike, Electrocute. These are your choices. And in the Zada GG guide, Rengar will be updated this weekend, maybe Monday, Tuesday. I've already put in all the notes into the system. It just has to get to the update first, and all the best Rengar builds coming your way very, very soon. Obviously, we want the Gus Walker Hatchling, the movement speed, because that's the juice, that's the speed that gives us more leap range. And the full AD, 85 AD bonus from a maximum stacked Ravenous Hydra. That's the stuff we want on our Empowered Savagery, because you're going for triple Qs, hell, even just regular one-time Q, people die. And that's what we want. So we have the legendary Spear Shot in the top lane, and no, that's not Pantheon, that is just Spear Shot. When you see this champion and challenger, you just go, hey, look, Spear Shot's on my team, and you really hope it is him. And we of course have the Amumu and Karthus bot lane, which means we will lack certain tower damage from our team, but as we all know, we can just Q the tower, and we are the tower damages. And in this particular case, the game will not go perfectly our way in terms of gold swings. It will get away from us, and we'll come back right with it later on, showing you the strength and potency of this champion. And I'll try and make sure that the only time in the video I say potency, but yeah. Runes you would have seen, standard stuff, Zada GG guide, link below as you will know, so go and check that out. Match history will also be below. Look at the kiting here, look at what we can do here. You see how far we can pull the wolf camp into the blue camp? That is something that people are going to start to refine and work on, which is why I'm keeping my camera on him and not looking at lane stats at the moment. Try and keep that in mind when you're trying to kite your stuff. I'm going to click away here quickly, hopefully in time, but you can start to pull that Grump over as well. Hey, look, Xin Chao is doing a 12 camper. Man, that's, wow, impressive. Oh, I could not have owned, dear me. Wow, okay. Well, spear versus spear this time. The Xin Chao wins, but don't worry, Spear Shot will be back. Again, no, we should kind of expect this stuff. We should see this stuff, and we should play around it accordingly, specifically when it's a ganking jungler getting leashed on the bottom side. If he does Red Krogs Raptors and goes top, or Red Raptors Grump, Xin Chao's also going to be updated on my live guides. He's going to arrive, and this kind of tempo, that kind of tempo from a jungler, still good. Still something you can do, dust in my eye, still something you can do, but for clearing and optimizing your farming, fusing it with ganking, and having a lot of jungle flow is the way to play Season 13. Season 13, not today, but tomorrow. If you watch a video on release, then tomorrow, but if you watch it in the future, then it's already released on the main channel. To gank or to farm, I will address what I mean by this kind of concept of, spam ganking and spam farming. That's just dead at this point, and we'll look at that in depth. Here we go for a nice juicy gank in the bot lane, knowing the enemy jungler's on the top side. He will be able to fall back to his blue side and take the top scuttle, and we will decide, hey, let's take the enemy ADC's life, which is exactly what we want to do as this ferocious cat. Not that one, although that one, you can't really, that one just had a fever, so he's feeling a little relaxed now, healthy, but didn't have a few good days. But even on his best days, he's the opposite of a Rengar. More like a Yuumi, a big, large male Yuumi, and that's what he is. So we've done a good job here. We shoved out the wave. We can take a plate if possible, and we're going to go back to base. The Xin Chao does what the Xin Chao does, which is repeat gank. So Spear Shot is a little upset because Sante is happy with the suboptimal non-prestige skin. Unlucky for him, and we can go back to base, get Tiamat, that's the rush here, and then we can carry on sequencing. Now, in terms of mythics, you will see in this particular game Duskblade. You can still go your Eclipse, and I do see some people do the Prowler's Claw, but I don't really, I've always liked Duskblade. I like the slow, I like the lethality, I just like the item, I just like the repositioning, I don't know, it's just something, even on things like Senna when it wasn't that great, even now, if you're telling me to go play a fun game and have a fun Senna build, I'll still do that, I just enjoy that item significantly more, but we'll see how we go, and we'll talk about it as we go on, but the synergy between the, the lifesteal or the Omnivamp from Eclipse plus obviously the Ravenous Hydra. That makes sense, right? Obviously you want to be able to sustain up, but Rengar is all about AD and burst first and foremost, and that shield and that extra damage and that extra sustain from Eclipse is nice, but repositioning and slows and bonus damage from Duskblade is always good. And when your bot lane is doing this with ill-timed roams and the enemy jungler shows up again and now he's going in on your Amumu, don't feel bad about just throwing the E and letting him die if he goes back in. That's on him. Oh my goodness gracious, he didn't walk this way, he went that. Oh my, why are you... Just walk this way. You know he can W. Just walk away towards the Rengar, towards this tower. Anyway, we'll finish up our full clear here now. The Xin Chao's overcommitting. We do have the Silas on the mid lane here. We know the Rengar's coming because we got hit by the Ebola. Not quite the maximized Ebola, but here we go. Silas goes in. We're able to make sure we get a kill back here onto the enemy jungler because he overcommitted, overgreeded. Akali's like, please let me live, So Chains. And the So Chains is like, no, I killed everybody. And he does that. He gets ignited. He should die. He does. And we'll hold this mid lane wave. So 1,000 words a minute, apparently, but this game is busy. This game is hectic, and Rengar is just doing his thing. This is a great example, actually, of can I spam gank? Can I have effectiveness? Yes. But if you don't know when to pull out and pull that plug, I almost said something else, pull the plug, there's different kinds of plugs, if you get my meaning here. Then the Rengar, in this case, who's been sequencing, had a good gank, and was able to collapse on your overcommittal, he's going to have the benefit. And in the main channel video that we'll talk about, it's a Silas versus a Hecarim, and you know the Silas cannot match a Hecarim's tempo, but the Hecarim just does such a good job getting himself fed initially, and the Silas has to claw his way back. So it's the opposite of the Xin Chao here, where he got fed and gave a shutdown, but imagine if he didn't get any of these kills. You know what would he be doing to get back into the game? And that's kind of this paradox and this balance between ganking, farming, flow, reaction, counter jungling. That's why jungle is so difficult, which is why every season, right, I make that become a better jungler video. Last year was become a better. We went from become a better jungler to become the best jungler to become a greater jungler to become the greatest jungler. Then I said become a jungle god, and then I said become a jungle legend, and then that's about it. So instead of saying become a myth-based jungler, because that would indicate you're dead, as we're 6 here, we're going to ult onto the Cassante. We get the root. That's very important as well. So nicely done there. We do have obviously the Tiamat. I made become a supreme jungler. So the fundamentals that you need for this season to kind of balance out what I'm talking about, that video will cover that as well. So I'd like to have these gameplays kind of be practical examples of the tips within the main channel videos. So here, obviously, we do our red, we get 6, we see Cassante splitting, we say, let's kill him. We have a full stack ferocity, and instead of always forcing this like triple Q, double Q stuff, use your root if they have mobility. Use your root if they have any sort of flash up, because the root will enable you to still get off a full stack of ferocity and keep chaining auto attacks to that enemy champion. Whereas if you just go in with the Q and then they get out and they have no slows, or maybe you miss your bola, you know what I mean? And thinking about missing bolas, I remember when that was point and click. Yeah, that made top lane Rengar quite irritating. I will admit, it was quite irritating. I mean, you just jump and EU and then run away and then jump and EU again, and obviously you chuck in the Qs and the Ws, but the point and click E was just like in the middle of a huge minion wave, there's just dudes slowing you and then hard rooting you, and it wasn't fun for enemy champions. So this is definitely good, because now, of course, we have the flash EE flash mechanic. That's a bit of skill expression, and we always like being more skill expressive, even if they're intent on bringing up meta junglers that are just so piss easy I want to cry to sleep every night, knowing that tomorrow I have to go and watch a Bel'Veth game, or a Hecarim game, or an Udyr game. It's like, you know, the Rengar has to work so hard and play so well, and all these other champions have to work so hard and play so well to win, and then Bel'Veth's just like, let me press E. Anyway, so from this, we keep sequencing. We're nice and juicy, 3-0-0. We've got ourselves full velocity. We jump into that to stay in combat to keep that up. Obviously, they stretched that out a few months ago. We're going to use our W there just to get into some extra space and to cleanse ourselves of any potential slows and CCs. Now we ult. We see the Amumu. I think we're thinking maybe, hey, let's ult the Rakan here and finish it up. But the Silas with the Amumu ult shows up, and Rengar mains know that Amumu ult in low elo, well, back in the day, that wasn't so fun. Yes, I'm the idiot who played Rengar Jungle and Silver when I was just a new little player. I was like, I want something off meta and unique. It was off meta, so I played it, and it worked. It was hard, but it worked. Obviously now, please don't play Rengar in low elo. Do it if you want to have fun, but admit that you're the problem if you can't carry, right? It's never your team when you play an assassin on low elo. So this is a really good fluid concept of how Rengar wants to get fed. I'm going to sequence, I'm going to look for a ganking action. Enemy jungler does whatever he wants to do, don't care. I'm going to do it again after I've done that and pushed a wave. Good experience, take a plate. If they overcommit, make a mistake, I'm going to invade or invade here or defend here or whatever's happening on the map, I will react to it to stack my bone tooth. Once I get 6, I want to use it as soon as possible, which we do when we kill a Cassante. Nice and juicy. Force yourself to keep sequencing and again, look for the side lane gank, do so, and then use your ultimate. We didn't really get anything from my ultimate in that case, but obviously that's okay, you know, that will happen. Not every ultimate is going to be good and swish. Here we see another fight on the mid lane. We have the Sylas going in to our team with the Rakan going into our team. Spear shot will fall. Akali will run away and do the helicopter twirl. See, that's the thing about these hitboxes is that didn't look like it was going to hit, but the moment you think that in that moment and you don't flash, it hits. And then you're sad. So Rengar here again, like, you know, we're down on gold, not by much, but obviously a lot of that cash money is on the Rengar's case here in terms of the advantage. We're going to do the grunt, but we see the Xin Zhao moving on down, and we see our bot lane going for the fight, so we think, okay, look, we need to be involved. Let's hit the bowler, let's slow him. Ooh, that was a nice jump flash, or E-flash mechanic onto the Xayah. Come on. Well, is this our one death? Ooh, quick feed. Well then, so we tried our best to enable our ADC, our ADC, Karthus, to actually do something, and you guys resonate with this, I'm sure. So we've gone from the Tiamat into the Duskblade. Yes, you can still do your sort of Essence Reaver stuff and your IE stuff. There's a lot of little variations in sort of Essence Reaver, Ghostblade, and then you've got things like your little DOMs with Cyrildas, you know, depending on if you want to implement crit into your build or not. And I'm seeing a lot of Rengars just go the classical electrocute full lethality, and honestly, that kind of brings a little bit of nostalgia. I do kind of prefer that, but obviously crit is goated, and you can do a lot of different things to snowball. We're going to jump in, get knocked out, jump back in again, which is what we're going to do. We're going to hit that empowered Ebola virus straight onto the crown, which he deserves, or at that point is probably more like a bird flu, but that's fine. We're going to jump, oof, too far away, onto the scuttle and secure that. Secure that. Trying to keep this one take, so we keep rolling with all the speakos, as it were. RNG Scuttle is nice. Go back to base. We have in the pocket here. My microphone's in front of my keyboard tonight because I put a shock mount on finally. So the Karthus is now down to. I love it. Don't you love it? He just like Silences just walk with. They just walk places on the map with absolutely zero fucks given. They just walk everywhere on the map because they know that the champion is not okay. I do think there is some differences. There's definitely a skill issue aspect to Sylas, which is why the win rate doesn't always represent the power curve, specifically in the jungle. That jungle win rate is good for Sylas. He's OP if you're good, but for general people, it's not. So he just walks down bottom lane and says, I want to fight you. Rengar says, okay, let me go to the top lane again. And again, not using anything empowered other than the hard root, red buff, slow puff. There we go. While he's smiting the Cassante, why don't you smite the like button? Yeah. Comment below, which is your favorite Rengar build, actually. Let me know. Are you a bruiser guy? Are you a tank guy? Do you like full crit? Are you full lethality? And we jump back on the Xin Zhao and annihilate him thusly. Spear Shot will then be able to push and take a tower. And the reason I'm saying that as well is because there was a video with Spear Shot in it a while back where he was a top laner. And instead of saying Pantheon the whole game, I just kept saying Spear Shot, and someone in the comments said, I love how it's just not Pantheon, it's just Spear Shot, like they're synonymous. So I'm kind of just running with that now. Once you've done this action, again, reward yourself with cams, but you're noticing ult up, use ult. Twice wasted here, so we wanted to make sure that the next ult really comes through strong again. The CDR on this is currently 76, and it will, at this stage, end up at 62 once we get to 16, just dinging 11. So ideally you want to use the ult if you're close to 11 once you get 11, but don't not use it if something makes sense, right? Like obviously we want to use it in the next time when we're 11 if we're level 10, but if you're level 10 and something happens whereby you can use it, get a lead, kill somebody, then obviously do so. Obviously the bonus cooldown is the main prerogative in that regard. Dragon spawns. Rengar's a dragon. Xin Zhao should recognize this and probably go and snack that Herald because he knows that the enemy team has that tempo control, and Rengar is now Duskblade, Ravenous Gaming. And of course we're in Booties and Cosmic. If you're gold plat, honestly, Yes, it works. Yes, it's good. Obviously, bonus movement speed is nice. It's, you know, that's the additional thing here for the bush jumping. But we have Gus Walker now, so I tried one take, but I lost it. Absolute Focus and Gathering the Storm. I had to pause because I'm just drawing a blank for those names. Gathering the Storm and Absolute Focus can be super, super good for you. Oh, I recognize this play. I put this as filler footage in my... I put this as filler footage in the Jungle Legend video. I didn't even know. So sometimes I just look for good replays and good plays that kind of match up with what I'm saying. And then randomly I'll just go re-scouting for a gameplay video and I'll find the same one. So we disengage there from the Herald. We go out. We go back in again. Oof, Cassante is fed. A lot of damage from Jack Show, as well as the scaling. We're going to ult here to reposition. Let your team die. That's fine. We're low HP. Pay attention now. While you're doing this, you're right-clicking, you're paying attention, you're pressing spacebar, you're going back on yourself. Who can we kill once they split up? ADC, obviously. We're going to make sure we do that. We get exhausted. We don't care. We jump. We go back into the bush. We jump again. We're going to make sure we Q. He will die. That's him, Chaps, with the electric Q proc. And the rest of our team, enemy team Scurry, we're chasing him with the other direction. So that ult there is great. As an assassin, that is the message. In and out gameplay. All right, we went in, we killed someone, we got low. Use your ult, use whatever you have to reposition. Kha'Zix, same thing. Use your second ult, third ult if you have R-Evolve to reposition. If you're not repositioning properly, okay, then what's going to happen is you're not exactly going to have a good time. You're just going to go back in low and you're simply going to die. So we have Cassante here, leaving base, collapsing onto the bottom lane tower. Karthus is 2, 6, and 4, finally has Leandries, but as I know, because I play a lot of Cassante here, all right, let's see. Let's see, what can he do? As I know, because I play a lot of Cassante jungle, spamming that stuff, Leandries, when I don't build HP, is less effective, which is what I enjoy. Like, you're building resistances. Might make a video on that, like a proper video on the main channel. I might get back to making proper champion guides on the main channel. Combos, builds, routes, yada yada. Okay, so we're going to jump in onto the Cassante here. He uses his W, so we hold off onto our route there to make sure we can get that. Of course, that goes through anyway. The Rakan is spacing. We are now flashing into the bush. We're going to jump in here. We want to use a W, which we do. We get a kill with it. We go back into the bush. We jump back out. And now we just want to make sure you are hitting your savageries as much as possible. Nice double kill. Good use of the W. And remember, QE when you're building damage. I mean... when you go to those hybrid builds, you're looking for that W second, but obviously here we want maximum damage, maximum electrocution. And on that note, talking about crit Rengar and things like this, don't take camps, please. Just don't take camps. If you play lane, stop taking camps, okay? Just because you're bot, just because you're an AD carry, doesn't mean you get camps. Now, this is specifically more so when we still have treats, right? We didn't talk about the treats this game, but both junglers have completed their treats. And the Xin Zhao's really done absolutely nothing after that death mid lane here. Like, he just fell behind completely because he just... one, he lacked the will. Two, he didn't make the right plays. And three, Rengar's playing like an absolute beast, man. I'm seeing so many of natty nat on the scouting list here when I look for high KDA games and looking for things, you know, because that's what I do. I study the game. I fear we might overcommit at some point, though. Let's have a quick... well, I've seen the KDA. I can tell you we die once. Not to spoil it, but it will happen at some point, so don't worry. If you're worried about, like, perfection gaming once more. We're down just under 100... well, just under 1,000 gold. We are moving across here. They will see us here. We have to drag the bush. Ah, there's the Cassante. We do have W, which we can use, but we use it for the hard route on the Xin Zhao, which is maybe the mistake here, but there it is. When you telegraph your positioning here, that's what happens. Hey, Dark Winter pressed. Outplayed. Outplayed. Karthus is a skilled gamer. He outplayed. Ah, the Amumu's going in forward. He gets a double root on that ultimate there. He can burn them down with the tears of loneliness. And it doesn't really matter because they have Cassante plus Silas, 2023 100 million year design champions against the Kali. Remember, your Q3 does stun them very briefly. Oof, does stun them very briefly. But with Cassante, you can reactivate your R. So if you want to bring some of your tankiness back, press R. Okay, you'll lose damage, but you'll be able to survive those close engages. Kali goes back into the wave. Silas goes back into the wave as well. Kali's going to yeet back in fourth and then finish off with the Q. Cassante says, I am out. See you later. Nice job with the Kali. We did lose the Heralds here, but when you are in a bit of a losing map state, you know, like we have one tower basically, and you're running across and they see it and they're pushing up, you will be collapsed upon and you will perish. And the hard route on the Xin Zhao is nice, but obviously I don't think there's any way we get out of that, because even if you save it for your power W on any sort of CC, they have so much that it's better just to, like, do your best, take your face, smash your keyboard, maybe you kill somebody. Which is typically what we do in those close situations. Bush jumping here, nice. Again, root, really good use of E roots here by the Rengar, because that's something that I don't see enough of. And obviously good bush jumping mechanics here, making sure you're pressing your W as well for damage. You don't always have to just hit those Qs, but I'm glad we're talking a lot about hitting E's, base, as well as empowered. I think that's something that's really underused by most average Rengars. They're just always trying for like saving their enhanced W, like there, that's a good use of the enhanced W, for example, waiting for the root, waiting for the root, waiting for the root. Once she does it to try and kill you, then we heal up, then we remove the CC, and then we just bush jump and kill her. But too many times people are focused on double Qs and triple Qs, and for me personally, I always prefer the E route with their ult against mobile comps, and in fact in general anyway, because you can stack it up again, and then of course now they're slow, they're stunned, you get more attacks per minute per second on them because they can't move anywhere, right? And that's something very important. And more to the point, because of the attack speed bonus you get on the Q, all right, this was way back when, and the fact that we went Fair Flood plus Blade of the Rune King plus Tank, we didn't have the natural burst in the combo. So what you wanted to do is make sure that they were stunned and slowed around you such that you could get as many attacks as possible, right? And if you weren't getting those attacks, then you weren't doing damage. So the auto attacks were very, very crucial. So just keep that in mind if you're maybe something that isn't a full-on assassin, but obviously triple Q, empowered savagery, that's what we want. But remember, if you can't attack them because they have mobility and they run away, you can't kill them. So as always with Rengar, that muscle memory and knowledge of, I'm in this fight, do I save my empowered initial empowered ability for a Q proc just to annihilate someone's soul, which default, do I need to keep them in place with an empowered root? Do I need to hold my my savagery for my savagery battle roar to cleanse CC? Always play Rengar if you're learning and think about this kind of stuff, and eventually when you play enough, it's just like, it's just natural flow that happens, right? You're not really you don't need an AD carry when you have Lord Dom's Essence Reaver, which is my point. And the final itemization, which hopefully most of you will recognize at this stage, is going to be an Infinity Edge. Now, you could justify a GA, but I feel like if you're justifying a GA in this particular regard, your positioning is kind of on the weak side, and you should focus on improving that. If you need a GA on these champions, it's a positioning issue. All right, we've used our Alter Reposition here. We'll wait for the stun and we'll jump back in. Now we can just go full on Annihilation Gaming. And yes, we're still going Lethality with the Eclipse of the Duskblade into your sort of Ravenous Hydra. That's the added component here. Normally we would have... Well then, I don't think you're going to enjoy yourself there, Cassante. That's not the guy you want to ult through the wall at all. I ulted a Lulu the other day from here, right? all the way up to there as Cassante. That was fun. I enjoyed myself. Right, we're just solo carrying this game hardcore, which is why this champion is so good. And the tower damage is the next level. The crit aspect, the sheen aspect, and obviously we have here the bonus damage dealt. I always look to think you can see, but we have 1227 extra damage on the Essence Reaver here. And haste is so damn good as well. That's why we like our Union Boots. That's why we like Essence Reaver. Haste is juicy fresh. Now we're being chased and ignited, and basically we're going to play with our food here like a good cat would. You're down 6 levels. I admire your confidence to chase down a Rengar. We have 3 people on the top side. Here was 16. We have our Blue Smite obviously long since upgraded. Blue Pet long since upgraded. And we've basically held together our team to the point that they can actually go ahead and do the business, which is all you're really looking to do. Now in low elos, will they necessarily come online? No. But at the same time, the enemy team won't have the same potency. Damn it, I did it. It's the same power in terms of controlling games, right? They will throw leads, they will spread out a lot more, and you can just kind of kill everyone that splits off. And so this kind of collection here where you need your team to step up against an enemy team that has a lead, that's a high elo thing for sure, but the same result will happen in low elo. The Zonias, yes, little bit of... There it is. Silas, Everfrost, Zonias, Gaming. TB from a blue team here. Okay, we will have ult in 26 seconds, so we don't have that up just yet. We're going to hit that root again onto the Cassante. Use our Gust Walker passive there to use the bush to move really, really quickly. We still have our flash available. We can now circumvent all of this nonsense and just kill people who step out. Let's see. We do have the movement speed proc here. We're going to jump in. We're going to make sure we can kill the Shinshao back into the bush. We'll get the Empowered Savagery into that one, and we'll finish off a nice kill onto the Cassante. So, good use of the blue pet. I almost said blue smite, blue pet. And you're seeing there why it's so good. Elevated boost range, yes. But when you're an assassin or someone who's really fed that's going to draw a lot of focus, you want to be able to escape and move around with ease. Currently, we are probing for some fun gaming. We are waiting for this. We've activated our empowered savagery. Can we go on anyone? Nope. We'll cancel our ult before we jump. Classic. Take an inhib and leave. Yeah, don't force it. Don't force it. Remember, if your team are playing around you a little bit better, like in this game, then please, please don't greed to end, fall back, to take camps. We're going to jump there on the Krugs. Nice little finish. We do have the BF sword as well. If we have IE, we want to make sure we get that 6-item spike and finish off. But if you have someone split pushing here, level 15, we can shadow. Let's see. What do we got? We can empowered Q here. It's going to run out, I think. And oh, no. I was like, because the ferocity stacks were diminishing, we activated the Q, and it was like if Cassandre just didn't walk up, it would time out, but he walks up. Now, of course, we can cancel the base because we killed somebody. We'll jump in onto this guy. Another empowered route again, just to keep him in spots so we can reposition. We keep stunning, keep stunning, keep stunning. We're going to flash over the wall there. We do, of course, have our flash Q available to us. We're waiting for the Zaya, who then does flash there as well. Unfortunately, we don't have much to use anymore, so be careful for the Fed ADC and the Fed Silas. I think we should leave. Can we go? Because we can just go ahead and take a dragon, we can get our IE, and then we can close out safely. And if you're in the mid MMRs, low diamond, and you're playing Rengar, which is probably most of you, I would suspect, please really use this measured aggression, right? Use this patience here just to get your soul, get your full build, use that treasure hunter passive if you've got it. If you're going futures, I do think potentially futures cosmic would have been a better buy. You know, if you're not going for a strike, I do like futures still. If you don't really like absolute focus and gathering for the medieval games that are kind of being stretched where you can get direct benefit from that, then the futures market is always good. Let's go. Yes. We now have 500 in 44 AD. Our base Q does 1128, that's 1128, and our first attack critically strikes, of course, because we have crit scaling, which we always seem to gloss over when we're talking about crit builds for some particular reason, but yes, 1312. Some stats for you. We've done 2,572 damage on the Ravenous Hydra. Match history is always linked below, so you can check it out yourself if you're on EU West. And of course, damage dealt to champions on the Duskblade is 1460 only, but again, the haste and the movement speed, we didn't talk about that passive, we only talked about the additional proc that we get, and as well as that 99% slow, but the bonus haste and movement speed is something Rengar loves, because we don't really need more damage, right? Lord Dom's 260 damage, and of course Essence River has about 2k damage bonus. So all of these items synergize beautifully with the crit scaling there, the amplification of that crit damage, plus obviously, at any other point, we want 70 AD. I mean, there's not a lot of builds where you can get more AD straight up. All right then, we're going in onto the Rengar. We do no damage to him, and he was just, there you go, that's an empowered savagery Q right there. We're gonna ult here. Can we go deep? We go deep. That's another boy that's dead. We throw out our E onto the Cassandre, nothing happens, and oof, that's unlucky from the Akali, and now we can just hit the towers and end the game. Have some fun if you will, but this is an exquisite example of how Rengar can be used to carry in Season 13, why he's so damn good, and why he's also not meta. Because it's difficult to do this properly. There's so many layers to his builds, his abilities, what to do in the moment mechanically. It's very rewarding if you put in the time, but obviously he's still an assassin, so you do have to think a little bit. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe if you did. Main channel has all the videos I mentioned before. Live companion guides, Rengar included, linked below if you want the best way to play Season 13 Jungle with me, giving you tips live. It's pretty cool. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial. 2 takes is not bad.